Like I covered in my recent Why Buy an RTX Super video, I talked about why you would or wouldn't buy an RTX 2070 or 2060 Super and mentioned that I'd have a 2080 Super soon enough to give you a bit of a synopsis on that, and so this is effectively technically a follow-up with just that. So spec-wise, you're looking at a very similar setup to the 2070 and 2060 Supers, as NVIDIA has just still thrown a few extra CUDA cores at the problem and hope that that solves it, and that is that this card has 128 more CUDA cores than the standard 2080 and an ever so slight clock speed increase, but that's about it. But price-wise, you're looking at a full £170 more for the ZOTAC Amp Extreme card compared to its non-super counterpart. That's a full 27% more money for about 4% more CUDA cores. So with that 27% more money, you'd really hope that it performs really significantly better than a standard 2080, right? Well, no. Here's some numbers. Starting off with 3D Mark Firestrike with a 9900K on its 4K test, we're looking at a couple 100-point difference here. Now, while that's not a massive difference and possibly not something that you would notice in games, it is certainly something to be aware of, that you do get a little bit of extra performance, kind of as you'd expect. When it comes to games testing on Battlefield 5 with ultra settings and DirectX 12, we're looking at a 3 FPS difference here. Again, when it's at 4K, 3 FPS can make a noticeable difference, but on the lower resolutions, which you can check out at the link in the description down below, it's not a massive deal. With Apex Legends here, again on sort of maxed out settings, we're looking at apparently a 12 FPS difference. I would say this is more down to margin of error than anything, so do bear that in mind, but you do get a little bit of extra performance. And the same goes for PUBG. Again, on ultra settings, we're looking at, I think, a 7 FPS difference here, which, again, at 4K is noticeable, but when it comes to the lower resolutions, 1440 and 1080p, generally speaking, you're not going to see a massive difference. And when it comes to Fortnite, we're seeing a very close race here, a 2 FPS difference still at 4K with, again, the 9900K test system, and so it is a little bit faster, but it's certainly not 27% faster. You get a couple of FPS difference between the two cards, and honestly, with the Battle Royale games that I was testing, a lot of that comes down to margin of error and stuff like where you are on the map and what's happening on the map as well. So generally speaking, the fact that you can't really notice a difference between the 2080 and the 2080 Super is a bit of a problem. Now, if you do want to see more results like the minimums or more resolutions, check out the written article or the written version of this on my website. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. So why would you buy an RTX 2080 Super? Well, much the same conclusion as the 2070. Soon you won't have a choice, at least from Team Green anyway. NVIDIA is phasing out the standard 2080 in favor of the Super variant, and so unless you want to pay 27% more money for, on average, a couple FPS extra, then I would pick up a 2080 while you still can. Now, that's not to throw shade on this specific ZOTAC Amp Extreme card, because quite frankly, this is an amazing option, Super or not. I'm genuinely impressed by both its styling, the fact that it has RGB, and the fact that you can turn it off. And the most impressive thing was hands down the thermals and the overall noise output. I had this in an open case with both side panels off right next to me, and I could barely hear it. In fact, I actually heard the CPU cooler more than the graphics card, which is a very rare occurrence, especially with these relatively high-end graphics cards. I think for me, the biggest thing was that it managed to stay that quiet and managed to stay relatively cool in the sort of 70-degree range, which is really where you'd expect these sorts of cards to be sitting without custom fan profiles. And so overall, if you do want a 2080 or 2080 Super, this is definitely a very good option. Now, with that said, those are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours in the comments down below. What do you think of the RTX Super series in general? What do you think about the 2080 Super? Is this a card you would think about picking up, or would you only pick it up because that's the only option you'll have soon? Anything at all, do let me know in those comments down below. And of course, if you are desperate to get your hands on a 2080 Super, and specifically this ZOTAC one, I'll leave a link to it in the description down below that you can check out, and of course see pricing when and where you watch this, because it will vary. You can also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As I said, those videos come out pretty regularly, and there's a very large back catalogue if you do want to keep watching, including more videos that will pop up over there in a second. You can also check out the links in the description down below if you want to support the channel. There's merch for hoodies or t-shirts like this one that I really like the design of, or there's also Amazon and Overclockers UK affiliate links which don't cost you anything to use, but massively help me out when you do use them. There's also other stuff like private internet access, which is a Great and Cheap Vpn, or Humble Bundle for cheap games and support charities too, and a load of other stuff that you can check out down there too. Otherwise, that is pretty much it. As I said, if you want to watch more videos, you can take a look at them over there. If you've got any questions, leave those in the comments down below, and we'll see you all in the next video.